The night swallowed the forest in one sudden breath, the kind that makes your chest tighten before your mind understands why. And it was in that heavy silence, no signal bars, no familiar sounds, no escape, that my life tilted in a direction I never saw coming. The road had ended miles back, the phone was useless, and the trees stood like witnesses to something that hadn't happened yet but already felt inevitable. I remember thinking how strange it was that the deepest moments of our lives don't arrive with noise or warning, but with stillness, the kind that forces you to listen to your own heart. Before this story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in the idea that one moment can change a life forever, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. We hadn't planned to be there that long. It was supposed to be a short retreat, a break from a world that had drained both of us in different ways. She was a friend of a friend, someone I barely knew beyond a few polite conversations and a shared ride into the mountains. The forest lodge had promised peace, quiet, and space to breathe, but a sudden storm turned dirt roads into rivers, knocked out the power, and left us stranded with nothing but a generator that died before midnight. When the last light went out, reality settled in hard. No Wi-Fi, no calls, no easy way back. Just two tired souls, a cold cabin, and a forest that felt endless. I had come there carrying my own weight. The past year had stripped me down slowly, job gone, trust broken, nights spent staring at ceilings wondering how everything slipped away so quietly. I wore strength like a habit, but inside I was frayed, holding together with routines and silence. She carried something too, I could see it in the way she moved carefully, like someone afraid of waking old pain. We didn't talk much at first. The quiet felt safer than words. As the hours passed, the temperature dropped. The cabin creaked under the wind, and the forest pressed closer, as if testing us. We rationed blankets, shared canned food, and tried to sleep on opposite sides of the room, respecting invisible boundaries we both felt but hadn't named. My mind wandered to every mistake I'd ever made, every moment I'd chosen distance over vulnerability. In that darkness, stripped of distractions, emotions have a way of surfacing whether you invite them or not. Sometime deep into the night, the silence changed. Not with sound, but with awareness. I sensed her presence the way you sense a fire nearby, warm, uncertain, dangerous if mishandled. She spoke then, not loudly, not dramatically, but with a raw honesty that cut through the cold. She admitted her fear, her loneliness, the weight she'd been carrying for years without rest. Her words weren't an invitation as much as a confession, and what she asked of me wasn't just physical closeness but refuge from the storm inside her. I was shocked, not because of the request itself, but because of what it revealed. Two strangers, reduced to their most human needs, standing at a fragile edge. My first instinct was to retreat, to protect both of us from a decision that couldn't be undone. I had spent so long building walls that even warmth felt like a threat. But I also recognized the courage it took for her to speak, to trust someone in a place so isolated, so exposed. The forest outside seemed to hold its breath as I wrestled with myself. I thought about consent, about respect, about the fine line between comfort and regret. I thought about how easy it is to confuse loneliness with connection, and how devastating it can be when that confusion turns into another wound. I didn't want to be another chapter of pain in someone else's story, and I didn't want to betray my own slow, careful healing. What changed everything wasn't a decision made in haste, but a pause. I told her, gently, that I saw her fear and her need, and that she wasn't alone, but that we both deserved something honest, something safe. We talked through the night, wrapped in blankets, backs against the wall, sharing pieces of our lives that had never found a place to land before. There was no rush, no pressure, just the steady unraveling of defenses. As dawn approached, the storm softened. Pale light filtered through the trees, revealing a forest washed clean, as if it too had survived something. In that quiet morning, I realized how rare it is to choose restraint in a world that pushes urgency, how powerful it can be to offer presence instead of escape. We had faced the edge together and stepped back, not out of fear, but out of care. Rescue came later that day when a ranger cleared the road. The moment felt almost anticlimactic, like waking from a dream you're not sure how to explain. We exchanged numbers, hugged with a sincerity that surprised us both, and went our separate ways. There was no promise of forever, no dramatic goodbye, just a shared understanding that something important had happened in that forest, something that didn't need a label to matter. Weeks passed. Life resumed its noise. But I carried that night with me, not as a temptation or a regret, but as a lesson. It taught me that strength isn't always about giving or taking, but about knowing when to hold space. It reminded me that healing doesn't come from running toward the nearest warmth, but from learning to sit with the cold without losing yourself. She messaged me once, months later, to say she was doing better, that the night in the forest helped her believe in patience again. I smiled when I read it, feeling a quiet gratitude. Some connections aren't meant to last a lifetime, but they can still change you forever. If this story has touched your heart, if it reminded you of a moment when you chose kindness over impulse or restraint over regret, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps these stories reach the people who are searching for them. And before this story ends, I have a special request. Please comment below with a single word that describes how this story made you feel. Your words matter more than you know. In the end, the forest wasn't just a place without Wi-Fi or roads, it was a mirror. It showed us who we were when everything else fell away. And sometimes, the most intimate act isn't what you do in the dark, but what you choose not to do, guided by respect, empathy, and the quiet understanding that some nights are meant to heal, not to take.